Yeah, or I'd have sponsors who were like, this was during the go-go days of the internet, so I had sponsors who had like big plans to...
Right.
And so even if they weren't actually doing any advertising, right. I had sponsors for a couple of years who wanted to do something like Details magazine, and they just sponsored my website.
So you're talking about from like 86 to like the I mean, you were kind of in the mid to late 90s, kind of at the tail end of what I imagine would have been a kind of a golden era in that particular industry.
Yeah, it's a wild, wild west of the industry, and in particular on the internet in general.
So we've set up those two major issues, and we can come back to them later. I guess the follow-up here is that the other thing that catches one's attention, right up there, up front and personal, is that you ultimately converted to Orthodox Judaism.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
So big choices like this usually come about as a result of crisis. So I came down with chronic fatigue syndrome in 1988, and so that kind of destroyed the way I was looking at life, because I was just like super ambitious at that point and just wanted to achieve. And when I could no longer accomplish anything due to illness, I had to rethink all my fundamental assumptions about life. And so I started listening to this talk show host in Los Angeles named Dennis Prager, who was a Jewish theologian, and that interested me in Judaism. And I was also going to UCLA at the time. It was the first time I knowingly met identifying Jews. Never knowingly encountered them before, so I was 22 years old.
You're 22?
And I became
go ahead.
Fascinated with Judaism. And after a few years, in 1993, at age 27, I converted through a Reform rabbi, and then I finally finished my conversion through an Orthodox rabbi in 2009.
So it's interesting to me that my particular path. I mean, we started vaguely at the same point, but ultimately your path was kind of taken. I mean, on the one hand, it's radically different than where you came from, but on the other hand, I mean, the apple doesn't fall from the tree, as it were, and moving from the Seventh-day Adventist religion, for example, I can only imagine the your thought process in moving towards Orthodox Judaism in the context of what that might mean to your family and to people who knew you as a kid.
Yeah, it when you make a big shift like that, two types of people become suspicious of you. The people that you've joined, that you've converted to. Orthodox Judaism does not seek converts, so Orthodox Jews and Jews in general are naturally suspicious of converts. And then the people that you've left behind, or the people that you grew up with, they're suspicious of you too. They don't know how to relate to you, because by making such a big shift, you're saying that they're wrong, and that everything that they've sacrificed for and worked for and built up over the course of their life, my making this conversion, I'm saying that they're wrong. So it really put me in a socially isolated place, because I tore up my connections with the world that I came from, and then had to struggle to make connection to the world that I converted to.
So on balance, so on balance, the biggest challenge for you in that process has been what you articulated here, which is the suspicion on one side and the accusations on the other, and then in the middle there, only Luke Ford really knows where he stands.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was the biggest challenge, but that was certainly a very big challenge. Probably the biggest challenge is that Orthodox Judaism has thousands of rules. And coming from a non-ritualistic religion, which Seventh-day Adventism does not have many rituals.
Yeah, but there's a lot of rules there, bro.
There are only a lot of rules if you don't know Orthodox Judaism.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Everything here is meant respectfully, anybody who's just tuning in.
Yeah, I mean, from a regular Christian perspective, Seventh-day Adventism seems to have a lot of rules. When you
like swimming on Sabbath.
Right, and there's a similar rule in Orthodox Judaism about swimming on the Sabbath. But there are thousands of rules in Orthodox Judaism. In Adventism, there are dozens of rules.
Would it be correct to say that it looks like everything you've taken up in life, you've kind of gone you've kind of gone all the way. There's no kind of mediocre try in Luke Ford's world.
Yeah, in my major endeavors, I tend to be an extremist.
Very good. Now let me do my little thing here. Listen to Jeff Anderson and Punk Rock Paul having a conversation with Luke Ford here on KVCU Radio 1190. Back to the porn industry. Why did you have to ditch your website?
I quit writing on the porn industry in October of 2007. The activating incident was that my rabbi gave me an ultimatum. He said, you have to either quit writing on the porn industry or quit coming to my synagogue.
And do you agree with the sentiment?
I don't disagree with it.
You don't disagree with it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty tough to have a big chunk of your livelihood kind of become.
Yeah, it was frightening. It was absolutely frightening because I've still been saddled by chronic fatigue syndrome since 1988. So this was one of the few ways that I could figure out that I could make a living from home, just by blogging from home.
Well, talk to us.
And there weren't any other topics that I could write on and earn a living from it.
So as far as this chronic fatigue stuff seems like it really hit you hard. What was that about?
I don't know. It was like one day I was fine, and then the next day I woke up with what felt like a bad case of the flu, only the flu-like symptoms never went away. So they're still with me 23 years later. So now I've spent more of my life with chronic fatigue syndrome than without it.
Hey, Paul.
Hey.
Jump in here with any questions anytime if you'd like. My friend Paul is totally. I mean, he's coming from a totally different place than anyone else on this show right now. So, do you have any comments or questions for Mr. Ford?
Let's see. Since you've been involved in your pursuit of Judaism, if you will, and leading yourself into the study of Orthodox Judaism. Have you, just out of curiosity, have you found your way into any Kabbalistic studies?
I have no interest in Kabbalah, so for people who are listening, Kabbalah means Jewish mysticism,
yes.
and the mystic kind of wants to dissolve his individual identity and lose himself in the divine, in the great all,
mm-hmm.
and that's not my orientation.
Oh, okay.
So, how common is conversion in general in the Orthodox community?
It's very uncommon. When you look at Orthodox Jews, 95% of them were born and raised that way. So not only is it rare for a fellow non-Orthodox Jew to become an Orthodox Jew, it's extremely rare for a non-Jew to become an Orthodox Jew.
So young Orthodox Jews are not like myself and my sister going around knocking on doors when they're kids, trying to get people to come join the synagogue?
Right. Orthodox Judaism, Judaism in general, does not seek converts among non-Jews.
Right on. So any... Here,
I'll give you a little funny story about that.
Yes.
To do with my dad. When I came home from my initial conversion with a Reform rabbi in, I think it was late fall of 1992, I told my dad what I'd done, and he looked up from his book at the dining room table, and he said, well, they're certainly not like the Adventists out there proselytizing. Because he'd known how hard it'd been for me to keep knocking on doors to try to get into Jewish life.
Your dad's still around, right?
Yeah, my dad's alive and well and preaching in Australia.
So on balance here, is your father as famous in Australia in the culture he's in as he was in the United States in the 70s?
Yeah, probably even more so, because there are proportionally more Seventh-day Adventists in Australia than in the United States.
So recently on your Facebook, you were making some comments about some SDA movies, and the only one I could think of was Cry in the Dark, and you and a few other people were able to come up with quite a few, but you mentioned that one.
Although the best one, and the only other major movie about Adventists that I am aware of, is called The Nostradamus Kid, which is an unknown Australian movie made in 1993, and it's basically autobiographical of the writer and the director. But it certainly resonated with me. It was about a kid who, in his teens, he kept giving his life to God, and then he started meeting girls and having sex with them and started giving his life to